Okay, I see I'm live. No, I wasn't gonna do a show today, everybody. I was gonna take the day off. I was up all night working on a project, and I was just feeling well. I overslept basically, and it got to be like 9:30 in the morning, and I just did not feel like getting up, so I didn't. Um, But as I'm getting ready to do this show later on this afternoon, about 5 p.m., I'm getting on the show with Scott the Patriot with my brother. We're going to be talking about today's events. But something happened about 2 hours ago. There was a press conference in Washington, D.C., and they trotted out a bunch of Epstein survivors, and several, I mean, at least one of these Epstein survivors is talking about Donald Trump, and of course, you see certain influencers. I see certain people out there who've been waiting for this development. They've been waiting to jump on this. Um, at long last, this is how they're going to get rid of Trump. This is how they're going to destroy Trump. And so she's up there talking about Epstein and Donald Trump, and instantly it's going viral, like as it is was intended to. It's going viral everywhere. Everybody's talking about Donald Trump and his associate Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, and hold on, let me mute that site there. Make sure I don't get any feedback off of Rumble. Here. Okay. From the very beginning, I told you where this was headed. All right. When after all the deep pockets people out there in the GOP neocon uniparty said, "Well, shit, DeSantis just pulled out," and despite everything you were told by fake polls, all right, anybody who's really got a lot invested in this, they all knew there was no freaking way Kamala Harris was going to beat Donald Trump. So, well before the actual holding of the 2024 election, these people were brainstorming with each other. Okay, this guy's coming back. He's coming back. We got to come up with a way to destroy this motherfucker. We got to find a way to fracture his base. We got to find a way to create enough chaos and controversy that a lot of the recent converts to the MAGA movement will go, oh no, I didn't know this about the man. I can't support him anymore. We got to find that hook. We got to find that thing we can use. And they decided Epstein. Epstein will do it. Epstein will get it done. I've been researching Donald Trump since 2017, after I came out of the Never Trump movement, which I mean, some of you may not know that, but yeah, I was never Trump. I was vociferously, I understand how you say that, vociferously never Trump. I still got the post up on my old John Strike blog, pleading with people, please, please don't vote for Donald Trump in the primaries. Please don't do that. Yes, yes, I was a Ted Cruz man. It's painful to admit it now, but yes, yes, I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. It's painful to admit that, right? So, uh, Donald J. Trump is the most thoroughly examined, investigated, and scrutinized man in the world. I can say that with almost no qualification. I mean, yes, absolutely. That there's evidence to back that up. And here we are, 10 years after the man came down that golden escalator. You had every network, you had every investigative reporter You had special counsel. You had private detectives. I mean, you had people with a lot of firepower, with a lot on the line, all right? Trying to find something, anything they could use to destroy this fucking guy with, okay? They were desperate. There's gotta be something. Gotta be something we can get him with to prevent him. Now, this is back in 2015, 2016. They couldn't find anything real. They couldn't find anything real. I'm going to do a Gary Oldman, all right? What the hell do you think they came up with Russiagate? What the hell do you think Russiagate was about? Why did they have to go out and invent Russian collusion hoaxes? Why did they have to do that? Because they couldn't find anything real. That's why they had to do that. What about this other guy, General Flynn? Why did they put their heads together and had to come up with a freaking Logan Act violation to go after him? Why did they have to do that? Well, I would suggest to you that the reason they had to do that is because there was nothing real. If there was something real, they would have found it. But they couldn't find anything real against either of these men. And I spent years investigating this, okay? So I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Pardon my French, but I'm getting upset. So he wins the 2016 election anyway. And they extensively damage him with their fake Russia hoaxes. And they limit his presidency. They impeach him twice. They do all that stuff to him. Everybody knows what they did. And then they spent 4 years doing everything they could think of, trying to destroy the man, including using lots of legal cases and criminal charges. Yes, they did. And once again, because they couldn't find anything real, what kind of criminal charges did they make against him? Well, they passed a special law in New York State. I believe that was so that crazy cat lady could sue him for defamation. And then Alvin Bragg filed 39 or whatever it was felony counts with supposedly defrauding a bank. Lying on bank forms. And they had all these attempts they had to, the point I'm making, they kept having to invent stuff to go after him with. Yeah. And he came back and won the 2024 election anyway, even though they were desperate to stop him. And they invented all kinds of lies and they invented all kinds of criminal charges to hit him with, to try to stop him from doing that, all right? He comes back anyway. And so what happens early on in this new term? What happens? What do they do? Well, remember what I just told you a minute ago? There are a lot of clever intelligence agency people out there. They're very clever. They've been running psychological operations on the public for quite some time now. I call it Alice in Wonderlanding people. Did you know the CIA and the Mossad and MI6 and the intelligence wing of the globalist cult has been Alice in Wonderlanding the rest of us, all of our lives. Yep, Alice in Wonderland and the CIA It started as an interrogation tactic where you throw so much nonsense at the person their mind bends, and then they see the first coherent framework that's handed to them, which will of course be handed to them by their interrogators, and they'll grab that with both hands. Oh, thank you. And they'll believe it. Okay, that's a brainwashing technique. That's a programming technique. It's called Alice in Wonderlanding. All right, and these people have been Alice in Wonderlanding us all of our lives. They knew Biden was gone. They knew Biden was a vegetable somehow, and their big plan to swap Biden out was completely messed up. So they were forced to go with Kamala Harris. I've been telling you for a long time now. I guarantee you, their original plan was not to run that drunk against Donald Trump. If you fell for the social media bullshit that somehow their master plan was to swap out a demented Joe Biden for a drunken Kamala Harris. That was their big plan. And then they were going to rub all our faces in it by rigging the election for her anyway. That was their big plan, all right? No. I think moves were made behind the scenes. They were literally hemmed in to the point they had to do that, even though they didn't want to. But he comes back, and these intelligence agency people I'm talking to you about that have been running these psyops for generations now, they have a lot of experience with Alice in Wonderlanding people, okay? Over a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, all right, he's able to come back. Biden's not going to stop him, and that Kamala, the drunk, is certainly not going to stop him. So we need to have a plan. And the plan they came up with, I know some people thought I was just being an asshole, okay? All during March, March, when the Binder thing happened on the White House portico, all those social media influencers that been flogging the Epstein log for 2 years. Give us the client list. We want the client list. Since there's no investigations going on and no pedophiles are being arrested, and you guys aren't pursuing any cases against these Epstein clients, give us the client list. We'll go do it ourselves. 2 years they flogged that log. They beat that horse to death. Only March, all these bunch of social media influencers get invited to the White House. They get punked. They're literally handed a binder full of nothing. Trump knows what his enemies are up to. You know, people have this idea. Trump is just reactive, like a lot of people are. He doesn't think ahead. He has no idea what the enemy's up to. He's just reacting to what they're doing all day long. No, he could see what they were doing. 2 years of flogging the Epstein client list thing. And he knows what's going to happen the moment he wins that election, as he knew he was going to, and he comes back into office. He knew what they were going to do. He says, you know what? I bet they injected some fake Epstein evidence. And now we're coming back in again. And the Garland people are leaving. Who were basically the Obama Comey people. Same thing. And they've been in charge of this hidden Epstein evidence. And they found a big honking truckload of it, remember, at the New York field office. Right after Ken Bundy got them all on paper, all on the record saying, we have given you everything. Oops, a whistleblower comes to her. These people think they're really clever. A whistleblower shows up and says, oh, look, there's a huge tranche of documents and Epstein evidence and videos and photos and stuff. They're hiding it from you, Pam, and you need to come get this stuff. And you need to grab it and start investigating it. But don't look too closely at it, okay? And so this was the gambit. So they found a huge truckload. They said they actually had to use, it was so massive. They actually had to use a truck to transfer this stuff to the FBI headquarters. So they started going through it. And the whole time they're going through it, what are the social media influencers doing? Give us the list. Give us the list. Where's the list? Where's the arrest? Release it. Drop it. Give it. Hand it. Put it out there. We demand it. Getting louder and louder and louder every day. Trying to browbeat the Trump administration into making a key mistake. Because let me tell you what happens. If Pam Bondi and Kash Patel had not done their due diligence, let me tell you what happens. They had not taken the time to carefully, also very carefully, go through all of this new evidence that they were handed in March of this year from the FBI field office in New York City. Let me tell you what would have happened. If they didn't carefully examine that and do their due diligence, and some of that fake shit that was injected in there got past them, every single Epstein case that could ever have been brought would now be dead. The entire case is compromised. You have to shut it down. Especially if you start investigating people and you start, some of this stuff starts getting out and it's fake, the entire world is now poisoned. You will not be able to prosecute anyone if you do not spot that fake shit that was injected in there, and you don't find it, and you don't remove it. Nobody get the whole thing had to be tossed out. See, they wanted the Bondi DOJ to start building cases on this stuff. That's what they wanted. It didn't happen, and social media influencers were really unhappy. Many of them, who are being, I keep saying this. I know some of you don't believe this, all right? But the social media influencers who are being paid to read scripts and follow narratives written for them by other people were very unhappy that Donald Trump and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bono, very disappointed they didn't give in and release the Epstein evidence. Very disappointed. The PSYOP failed. Oh, but that's okay. These people don't give up, The PSYOP to try to feed the new incoming and just established Trump Department of Justice fake Epstein evidence so they could compromise all the cases. Not just the fake case, the cases that would have been built on the fake evidence, but all the real cases too. It failed. The PSYOP failed, okay? It failed. That was in March to about June. It failed. But not to worry. These people don't give up. Well, okay, now it's time to trot out the Epstein victims. It's time to find a couple Epstein victims that will pin the Epstein client tail on the Trump donkey's ass. Okay, so now this is what we have to do now. We have to go find women who will claim to be Epstein victims that will tie him to Donald Trump. And we need to, once again, sell the narrative that Donald Trump is an Epstein client. We've already had several high-profile people who've managed to get either, I won't say they inserted themselves into the MAGA movement or because they're not. Ian Carroll's not MAGA. Alex Jones is certainly not MAGA, okay? But they've already tried to float the idea that, Epstein is where Trump got Melania from. You know that, right? Every time out there making some some big revelation there to make advancing this claim. Epstein trafficked Melania to Donald Trump. So they've done this seeding thing. They prepared the ground. It sucks. I mean, for them, for the people who launched this psyop targeted at the MAGA base, it sucks that they were not successful in tricking the Trump DOJ and compromising all the Epstein cases and blowing it up by, using the fake evidence that was injected. They're very disappointed about that. But look, they can still go with the Epstein victims, all right? They can still trot out the Epstein victims for very high-profile press conferences where they talk about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. And so that's what they're doing. They're doing that now, okay? I always knew we were going to end up here. I was telling people back in March exactly what they were going to do. This is a psyop. They're psyoping you. I was trying to sound the alarm even before that shit happened with the Epstein binders out in front of the White House. A lot of these social media influencers are not who you think they are. They're not. They're not who you think they are. But some of them maybe were once, but the money, oh man, the money they were offering, it got too good. The money got too good. They could not turn down that much money. And they're always able to have that doubt. Oh, I'm just asking questions here. I'm just asking questions while they influence people. Okay. And so about 3 months ago, it came to a head, and you had people coming out and saying, I hereby abandon Donald Trump. He won't release the Epstein evidence. He won't give us the client list. He won't arrest anybody. People are saying this. Look, I follow Craig News, all right? I know about the thousands and thousands of pedophiles that are being rolled up all over the world over the last 6-7 months. Quietly. Oh, I mean, yeah, there'll be an announcement, but you have to go look for this shit. The fake news isn't going to show you. Gee, I wonder why the fake news isn't going to, Trump keeping this low key because the work gets done, and he wants these fake news people out of his fucking way while this is done. Not to mention a uniparty bullshit artist, the Democrats and the Republican uniparty bullshit artists. Stay out of the way while the pedophile networks get rolled up. Beetlejuice is on my TV. Wow, I wonder what happened to her. Lori Lightfoot. Yeah, I wonder where Lori Lightfoot went. Yeah. A lot of people out there are offered a lot of money to read scripts, to promote narratives. And you think there's this weird idea. So many of these big social media MAGA influencer accounts, they're making so much money. Why? Why would they do that? Why would they agree to read a script written for them by somebody else to target RFK Jr., Pam Bondi, Dan Bono, Cass Patel, Kristen Noem? Aren't they already making enough money? Why would they do that? That's very naive of you. Don't they have enough money? I tell you what, I've met some people you would think they have more than enough money. They always want more. A lot of these big MAGA social media influencers who have millions of followers live in $1 million houses. They got bills to pay, you know. The bills got to be paid. A lot of these influenceable type companies that approach these big accounts, yes, they are approached. Hey, listen, here's the script I want you to read about RFK Jr. about how he's making a massive mistake here with trying to get states to take soda off the SNAP benefits. Just read this out a couple times. We'll pay you $3,000 a post. Some of them admitted they were approached. Riley Gaines and some of these other accounts came and said, yeah, I was approached to do this kind of thing. Yes, they're approached. There are companies out there that do nothing but this. They shop for influencers that will play ball. And so a lot of people think that this Epstein shit was organic. They think it just happened all by itself. That this idea was formed that there's an Epstein client list that we can have. Listen, I have covered, you cover a lot of different things when you are a journalist. And some of the things I covered over the years happen to involve cases that involve children being killed or injured or sexually abused. All right? I'm aware of all the protections that are in place to protect victim identities in cases like that. Somehow, this expectation gets created that there is an Epstein client list that they'll be able to publicly drop. And and among the social media influencer class, this expectation begins to build. They have a list. They could give it to us, but they won't. It's a massive cover-up. It's a sign of the corruption that they won't give us. They'll give us the list. They spent years. Right back in 2022 is when a lot of this started. Years blogging that horse, riding it to death. Well, because there's no investigation going on, none of these pedophile networks are being prosecuted or investigated. So there's no reason you can't give us the list. And yeah, any list we get, you can bet we're gonna be ruthless with it. Anybody whose name on that list, we're gonna utterly fucking destroy them. Give us the list. Give us the target list. Give it to us. And the voices got louder and louder and louder. Meanwhile, I'm over here. Shit. You think everybody that took a ride on Epstein's fucking plane was involved in all of this shit? Well, they weren't. I have no illusions from the beginning about how ruthlessly irresponsible some people would be. High-profile people now. How ruthlessly irresponsible some very high-profile social media influencers would be if they ever got their hands on a list. How they would go after people. Mob justice, If some people out there have illusions about how that would have been handled, well, I don't have any illusions about how utterly fucking ruthless people would have been with any name, even people with the most tangential relationship to Epstein, showing up on any type of a list that was released. And how the internet being what it is, you have people relentlessly trying to figure out who some of the victims were based on the association games people play with lists of names. They would try to find out who the victims are. So I watched all of this unfold for like the last 3 years. And I'm like, my old friend Thomas Wicker used to say nobody knows how anything works. And I watched this expectation build while Biden was president and while Merrick Garland was at the DOJ, they could give us that list, but they won't do it. But then Trump wins the election. Yes! Trump wins the election. We're gonna get that list at last. It's just how the PSYOP advanced, and it continues to advance today. We're gonna get the list. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. That Donald Trump won that election, and then January turns into February, and shit, no list. And then February turns into March, and where's that damn list? March turns into April. Give us, well, I want to give us the damn list. It's April, man. Where's the damn client list? April turns into May. And you start seeing, okay, it starts to get ugly. It starts to get exceedingly ugly in May. Now watch all these people. Wow, this is really getting out of hand. They're constantly screaming at Pam and Down and Cass and Trump. Give us the damn list already. If you don't know how anything actually fucking works, you should be very careful what you ask people in authority to do for you. Like I said, if Trump's team had been dumb enough to hand out any list, especially based on evidence that was handed to them late, that they just gotten out of an FBI field office, and it was compromised. If they've been dumb enough to do that, every single every chance that ever unsealing actual real Epstein indictments would have been gone forever. That was the plan. That was the psyop. We'll not only make Trump look bad, we'll sabotage the chance of any real Epstein cases ever being brought. Luciferians, man. They're the absolute worst in humanity, man. This is what they were hoping would happen. Trump and Bondi and Darren wouldn't really look at this shit that was handed to them, and they just start rolling it out and indicting people based on it. Thank God that didn't happen. That's what certain people out there, very deep pockets people, they were really hoping that would happen because they have a pretty good idea what's going to happen if the Epstein cases that are still being built and still being investigated internationally around the world. They have an understanding of where this is going to end up when everything is ready. So they launched a PSYOP to try to browbeat the Trump team into making a key mistake and going early without doing any due diligence and putting fake injected evidence and legal filings and maybe even release some of it as official disclosures to the press. And the Trump team didn't fall for it. And this makes the social media influencer class out there very sad. I mean, what good is it spending all that money and giving it to these people to read your scripts if they're still unable to browbeat Trump into making a mistake? You're pretty much just throwing your money away. So I turned on my TV about an hour and a half ago, and there's video coverage of this lady standing on, I look like the Capitol steps. I'm not really sure where this presser was located. And she's making claims about Donald Trump and Epstein. It's like this is the whole cycle. They're gonna repeat this cycle over and over again, hoping somehow they can make something stick. But we have all the uniparty Democrats, which is basically all of them, and all the uniparty Republicans, which is about 2/3 of them, all high-fiving each other with glee. We got him now. Epstein could deliver the silver bullet that will at last get this guy down, get this guy out of our hair, remove the Trump threat. Epstein will get it done. They were really hoping Epstein can get it done. And so here we are. It's September now. It's September 2025. We're 3 days into September. Here we go again. A new Trump Epstein news cycle. On one hand, I know desperate people are forced into stupid shit. They don't have a lot of tools left in the toolbox, Not at this point. So Trump makes increasingly radical moves like blowing up speedboats full of terrorists, drug smugglers, and after taming the supposedly unstoppable crime wave in Washington, D.C., very clearly getting ready to go into places like Chicago and Baltimore as he produces his tariff reset, his trade reset and tariff revenues jump up over $30 billion for the month of August. As he's doing all these radical things that they were hoping they could stop, but they never wanted to see, these people get increasingly desperate. I mean, yeah, they haven't had a whole lot of success with, since he came back. A lot of things they wanted to keep hidden have been exposed. And there's more coming. There's still probably some things Trump hasn't gotten to yet. Or they made it cost prohibitive at this time to try to expose it. Trump picks his fights carefully and strategically, okay? But there's a lot they wanted to stop him from doing. I haven't been able to do it. And they're constantly looking for something they can use to try to hurt him with, at least fracture his base, Well, they tried to use RFK driver wedge between the new RFK arrivals and the Trump base. They tried that for a while, and they tried to get people to question John Ratcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard, and they tried to drive the wedge with that for a while. But I'll tell you what, over the last 8 months now, the biggest success they've had, that these people who've been Alice in Wonderlanding us for all our lives, the biggest success they've had at creating division and chaos in the Trump base is with Epstein. With the Epstein case. That's the biggest success that they've had. So, of course, I wake up today and turn on my TV, and yes, they're going right back to it. I'm not denying that there's international child sex trafficking. Far from it. Yeah, I appreciate the people that watch on YouTube. I know I don't have a big audience there. I appreciate you often and boo. I actually have about 45 people watching on Rumble, and there is about 700 people watching on Twitter or X.com. So, yeah, that's the number. So I spread it out over 3 different platforms. But the people who've been psyoping us and Alice in Wonderlanding us for our entire lives, they have to go with what's effective. And so far, the only thing that's really been effective to get people to say, all right, that's it. I'm done with Trump. He's not arresting any of the pedals. I mean, I sit here and go, oh my God, you have no freaking idea what's actually going on out there in the real world. If you think pedophiles aren't being arrested, okay. This is the biggest success that they've had, dividing the Trump base, causing chaos inside the Trump base. It wasn't the snap soda thing. It wasn't the attempt to get the half of the Trump base to turn on the RFK Jr. part of the base. They didn't have any real luck with that one. But Epstein, yeah, Epstein is working. They got some results with Epstein, so they're going back to Epstein. And it's like they have to do something. I mean, like I was saying in a post this morning, this is an existential fight for these people. It's over for them. I made this point the other day. There's no comeback. I mean, if the Trump manages to expose everything, look, let's just take the vaccine thing. Just the vaccine thing. The RFK Jr. is clearly getting ready to roll out about autism and the SIDS and all the vaccine deaths and injuries they've been covering up and hiding for decades at this point. The data is there. That's why Marx and Monares and all these people are tweaking out and doing the media rounds trying to stop this. Do you think these people have any illusions what happens to them? I like it to a diseased temple with a high priesthood. And you have to be an initiated member of their high priesthood to get access to their Holy of Holies. You have to be a high-ranking member of the priesthood. You've been qualified. You've been initiated. You've been brainwashed to the point you will die before you let that information go public. Because they know what happens. So parents of this country ever find out, they ever see the data about the childhood vaccine, what the childhood vaccine schedule is actually doing to American children. And then all these people did this knowingly. Don't you think for a second they don't know what they've been, oops, it's an accident. We only figured out afterwards that we were poisoning America's kids. Oh, but we were trapped. We can't stop it. We can't do anything about it. No, that's not what's been happening. They did this knowingly. So as I said on X the other day, if RFK Jr. and Trump are successful in revealing the true data that's been covered up for decades, if they manage to bring this out where the public can see it, do you really think there will ever be any comeback for these people from that? Like what? They'll avoid prison? They'll flee to a foreign country and lay low for a few years, and then they'll sneak their way back in. They'll hire a very good public relations firm, and they'll go on an apology tour, and then, well, back in business. And they begin resurrecting their vaccine industry. Is that how you see this going? Yeah. I'm convinced one of the things that they've been doing with the vaccines, when they deliberately poison infants in their most vulnerable state, I'll think about how I want to say this. These people have been studying brainwashing and mind control techniques for centuries. Especially over the last 100 years, they've gotten exceedingly good at it. There's a reason they want to inject kids with a shit ton of chemicals, certain chemicals and toxins even while they're in utero, even when they're still in the womb, they want to do this. There's a reason they want to do that. Oh, they just love poisoning the kids. Well, yeah, I guess some of them do get off on that. But there's a practical effect when you poison somebody toxically in the development of their mind, the development of their spirit. There are effects when you poison them at the earliest stages of their development, and they study what these effects are. You understand what I'm telling you? I know it's awful. I know it's horrible. It can literally bend your mind if you're not ready for it. What RK Jr. is going to roll out when he's ready is that they were carefully monitoring and gauging the effects which toxins and poisons were having on which children, and ways to increase certain effects and decrease other effects. I know some of you are struggling to believe this. Your mind is going to revolt. No, it can't be. Like New Reeves and on The Matrix, it's such a great film. The moment it hits him that he's been living in a dream world and that he's been turned into a copper top battery. The look it comes over his face. Oh, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I know you don't want to believe that a fellow human being would not only plan this, carefully plan it, carefully create the different vaccines and toxins, and then carefully set up a national rigid vaccine schedule to make sure as many speaking children as possible get this shit pumped into their bodies. No, you don't want to believe that. I didn't at first either. I don't want to believe it. What kind of a fucking comeback do you think these people will make from this if the truth comes out? Hmm? What fucking PR firm do you hire to finesse that situation? When you've got millions of American parents that want to find you and literally fucking beat you to death with their bare hands. I don't think that PR firm exists. I think you're going to be lucky if you don't die inside the four high walls of the prison, either from being sentenced to life in prison or they execute your ass in there. I mean, crimes against children, crimes against humanity itself. I mean, it boggles your mind when you begin looking into this and you discover that these people are doing this on purpose. When we inject a 1-day-old infant with this type of vaccine, with this amount of thermosterol in it, with this amount of, this toxic goop, when we then they develop this way. Oh, positive trend there. Okay, their imagination is dull. They're more easily led. They're more open to suggestions from authority figures. Yes, that's promising. We need to heighten that effect. There's a reason they want every damn kid that goes into public school, even some of these private schools. You have to have certain vaccinations. And if you think after everything you've learned over the last couple of years, they only set up this childhood vaccination schedule because they cared about children's health. Okay, my son, you are still dwelling in their dream world. You are still trapped in their matrix. They don't give a shit about you or your children. That's just one thing, just the vaccine thing. Just on I mean, forget about all the other shit they're doing to us. When the Alice in Wonderland is. That was just the vaccines. Anybody that tried to sound the alarm on that got destroyed up until recently about what they were actually doing. And that's just in the vaccine, the health space, all right? So there's all kinds of other things that they're doing to us. Alice in Wonderlanding it. They're good. These people are good at what they do. And I know a lot of people thought I was just being a prick. I was just being an asshole back in March when I'm saying this is not what you think it is. It's not. This is a psyop. They've been psyoping you about Epstein, their client list, and all the Epstein evidence that needs to be dropped out there. They were demanding it be released publicly. This is not what you think it is. I had to be that guy, you know. They're playing the Epstein victims repeating their claims again, including the lady making claims about Trump. So here's where they want to take the news cycle for the next couple of days. After all the shit that they've tried to do to Trump for the last 10 years, because none of this other stuff really had any effect. They were never able to get anywhere with any of their other attempts. They're back to the Epstein psyop because it's the only one they've had the most success with. They want those files released, including the part that Trump said this is a hoax. There's fake stuff in there. We found it. We're not releasing that. That this expectation was built and built and built, and a lot of people really, their emotions get involved in it. Now, I know that I become emotional when I'm on camera sometimes. I'm autistic. I'm a brilliant actor. Trump is 100% genuine. There's a lot of people out there that are acting. They're acting. And they're trying to fool you. And they're trying to get you to think Epstein. Epstein is going to bring down the globalist cult. It's going to bring it down. Who talks to you about the Luciferians and the globalist cults? Few people do. When we start watching people, okay, I don't know where I was going with that. The emotions there. Like a lot of artist people, I do lose control of my emotions. They exist. But if I end up being put in an emotional state, I can't control them. In that case, I'm not pretending to be Gary Oldman losing his shit. I am Gary Oldman losing his shit. Here's why I said that. When you're an artist, and 99% of the time, you're in firm control of your emotions because you're not really emotional like a normal person. It's much easier for you to spot emotional manipulation from other people. It's much easier. And that's one reason why early on I started noticing a lot of emotional rigging and manipulation and psychological tricks being employed by major MAGA influences to try to drive everybody in the MAGA base towards certain narratives. Like, we need the Epstein client list, and we need it right fucking now. I'm watching that unemotionally. Wow, they really look like they're trying to manipulate people with this. And they were, because as the time went by, it got worse and worse and worse. And so here we are, September 3rd, 2025. They're trotting out the Epstein victims again. I'm all for letting the victims be heard as long as they're genuine victims. But if some of them are taking the money from Soros or whoever, and they're going to start waxing a little rhapsodic about maybe trying to take that Epstein tail and pinning it on Trump's butt, okay, I'm going to be fairly ruthless with them people. If they continue, either they fall for this shit because they're not thinking, or they're pretending to fall for it, which is even worse, in which case I'll be even more ruthless with them. You get one shot at an American golden age taking on this Luciferian cult. You get one shot at it. These people are ruthless, they're clever, they have a lot of resources, they're not out of money yet. Yes, they were looting a treasury for over 100 years, and they probably not out of money yet. But they have fantastical amounts of wealth. Much of their wealth is not even publicly declared. You only know what they showed you in their official disclosures. Out there, and they're constantly planning how they're going to get the Trump base to destroy itself and rob Trump of his influence. Because, like I've been telling you, the only reason Donald Trump can do even half of the stuff he's been doing since he came back is because he got his level of public support, the obvious level of public support, to the point he could do this and thrive, not just survive giving the order, but thrive while giving that order. Okay. And these people are watching this. We got to get that public support down. We got to find a way to destroy even 10, 15% of that public support and get it back down lower. Well, he'll stop doing this shit to us. You've got to get his public support to drop. So while he's out there virtually eliminating the crime in D.C., getting ready to do it in Baltimore, Chicago, L.A., while he's bringing the government to a surplus, but yeah, probably have a monthly surplus before long. The revenues are exploding. He's not getting ready to eliminate income taxes. Okay, he's getting ready to do all this radical stuff, and his support's building. Meanwhile, these desperate people over there are taking anything they can find and throwing it at him, hoping to find something that sticks. And what you need to realize, all 1,300 of you watching me right now, Epstein is the only thing they've tried that had any success at all, any real success. It's the only thing that worked. The snap soda thing blew up in their faces, even as they were trying to launch it, trying to get part of the base to turn on RFK Jr. I'm for freedom. Americans should have the freedom to buy sugary soda if they want to with other people money. And they were handed a script and they were reading that script and they made it too fucking obvious and everybody, they got spotted and it turned into a huge fiasco. But don't you think that shit isn't still going on? Because it is. Well, they're just forced to be more clever about it and not make it as obvious. No. I'm encouraged by where things stand right now. If you let the intelligence people out there who earn six figures a year constantly huddling up and spitballing and brainstorming about what they can do to make you full of fear and negativity and get you depressed. And as we stand literally in the doorstep of the American Golden Age, totally focused on shit that you hate, totally focused on uh, negativity and failure, and you walk around all day looking like this. Okay, that's where they want you. They got you by the balls. Okay, they want you to follow certain people. They want you to listen to certain messages every day. They've been programming people for a long time, and I understand now. This just the big here. I want all 1,317 of you to pay attention to this. They know you've all tuned out the fake news. You tuned it out long ago. You don't believe the fake news. You don't trust the fake news. You found other people that you will trust. They carefully created some of them. They have found other people that you can trust. They work hard at it. Some of these people spend years building their street cred before they make the turn. They know you're not watching the fake news anymore. But you still watch some of those people that show up on Bannon's show. They know you don't listen to the fake news anymore. But you still pay attention to Alex Jones, some of the people that show up on his show. Yeah, they know you do. You don't watch fake news? Fine, we'll find somebody else that you can trust that will feed you our narratives. And they have. And I gotta be that unpopular prick over there, waving my hand inside all these social media influencers that live in the $1 million houses that millions of you follow are fucking with you. They fucking with you. For money. They drape themselves in the MAGA flag. I'm more MAGA than MAGA. And they fucking with you. Yep. Well, live and learn. I mean, there are people that I trusted that I only found out recently. I shouldn't have done that. We've all been had. The problem is if you don't learn anything from it and you continue to be taken advantage of and allow people to influence you and mess with you. Okay. So there are a lot of people out there in these intelligence agencies that have been Alice in Wonderlanding all of us. And they know we don't watch the fake news anymore. And so they all put their heads together and they huddle up and they say, well, we need to create new alternative media sources that these nitwits will follow and that they will listen to. And that's exactly what they've done. And that's why a certain account on the chance said, well, started saying 7 years ago, be careful who you follow. Thank you for watching. I'm going to be on again with Scott Zimmerman at 5 p.m. on his Rumble channel. And I'll be there with my annoying brother. And I will try not to talk over him so much. So I'll see you all then. Thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day.